are back with another edition of The Drive here at oddschecker.com. I am Geoff Fienberg. With me is Andy Lack. We are in New Orleans for the Zurich Classic, one of the more unorthodox events on the season, Andy. In the past, I would kind of champion the event just as part of the theme of they play golf every week. It's like a circus. It's like Monday Night Raw. They could do whatever they wanted with a handful of these events, and really there's nothing we should complain about. But now I complain a little because once they took away match play, then I'm like they took away the holy grail of switching it up. So that really annoyed me, and still miss match play. But it's the team event, and I remember my friend Andy here brought one home last year. Davis Riley and Nick Hardy was the team. It's been an interesting dichotomy of winners. That's sort of one of the only ones I feel like that actually came from the middle of the board. Everything else historically has been like super chalky or really out of the long shot range. Just hyper curious how Andy Lack goes about, capping something like this, because you're so data driven, and this is really like from the gut. You're taking two guys. You're just hoping maybe if there's a guy who struggles getting over the finish line, you're like, oh, he's got a partner that could help him. That sort of thing plays into my head. But I'm a lot more like gut and, golfer based, the number based than you are. So what is your thought process for something like this?
Yeah, man. I've shockingly had a lot of success at this event. I've actually hit 2 in a row here. I'm not going to Vic lap 8-1 Xander Cantlay the prior year, but 8-1 retrospectively
Patrick
was a
Cantley's
steal.
last win.
No, he won BMW in 2023, but I point taken. He needs to win more golf tournaments. He won BMW at Wilmington Country Club. Am I incorrect about that? I can check and let you filibuster for a second later in the pod. But yeah, I have surprisingly had a lot of success at this event. I'm going for 3 in a row at the Zurich, which I think would probably be my greatest accomplishment as a golf bettor. I have developed a formula for this week that basically correlates each team's corresponding skill sets and takes an aggregate model ranking for each duo. And I've had a lot of success trusting that model. With that being said, I would not besmirch anyone for just going surely off of vibes this week. But if you want some data-driven analysis for this week, I can give you some. And hopefully we can keep the train rolling this week with 3 in the row at the Zurich.
Yeah, but what is the secret sauce? Guys got to like each other. One guy's playing well. One guy can lift the other guy over the line, or it's just course fit. There's so many pairings where you're like, that could they seem kind of boom or bust, how well they could work, how well they could not work. And then there's pairings that that's a pretty even keel pairing, but actually getting someone across the finish line doesn't seem that easy. You were right, but you did get the year wrong. Cantley won. No, he won after the Zurich. He won a few months. He wanted to end that season at the BMW. So 2022. Sorry, but I guess
point stands. Cantlay, he's got Xander and Cantlay. They've got to win.
And Xander actually, off of that win, I believe, was able to get a little hot that summer. He won the Travelers and the Scottish Open. So I don't know, maybe
nothing since.
And I joked on Twitter today that they're in a tough spot this week, because if they win, it's like low hanging fruit jokes. And if they lose, it just probably creates another low-hanging fruit joke. That being said, I do support that they're here. They like to play it as a team. There are so very few high-end golfers that showed up to this. It seems like a drunken night may have convinced Rory and Shane to do this. So I support any of the high-end golfers that show up to events that the schedule just dictates are very much beneath them. I'm not trying to insult it. but it's the schedule that sort of dictates that sort of thing. We can get right into it though here, Andy. It's the Zurich oddschecker.com. I use that grid. We use it weekly. I gotta say, this morning I had a feeling and I said it, and the grid this week feels as important as any other week of the year because it took a long time for books to post numbers today. And there is a lot of books. There's a lot of all over the place with the same guys. You know, the books really don't know what to make of this. And you could argue once you sort of get past 60, 70 to 1, the guys at 80 to 1 feel like the exact same as the guys at 150 to 1 in
Yeah.
terms of their chance to win. And maybe you play into that variance, but I teased you a couple times long enough. It's the top of the board. It's the old Scotty Scheffler price is what you could play Cantley and Schauffele at 5 to 1, the best number using that grid over at DraftKings, if that's something you're into. I mean, they got to play their own ball. They got to play together. It's hard to imagine they're not in a chance to win this thing, but maybe you want to look down the board. Lowry and Rory, I mean, they could get scary if they really get on a tear. I think they're going to have a great time, play some great golf. But I'd argue maybe there could be some value in Sahith and Willie. Maybe they're just so likable that people want to bet them together. And Kitayama and Morikawa will round out what's inside 20 to 1. And they seem like they could be a team that like really suit each other, especially with Morikawa putting well right now. So anything in front of 20, have your interest in an event that has historically been kind of chalk.
Yeah. Can I derail us for 1 second?
Anywhere you want to go, buddy.
If Scotty Scheffler was playing this event with Tony Romo, who's a plus who's a plus 2.3 handicap out of Dallas National, what would you make their number?
Okay, Scotty with Romo,
who are best friends and have played 500 rounds together, and you get 2 best ball and 2 alternate shot. And Tony Romo's a plus 2.3 out of Dallas National, which, by the way, guys like Eric Cole are playing with something called Russ Cochran, who's 66 years old and hasn't top 10 on the Champions Tour this year. So before you shoot me down in flames,
okay, what's Eric Cole's number? Just for context,
I'd have to look on that. But I don't even know if, I mean, there's so many weird players in the field this week that I don't think have PGA Tour cards. Like, this is a bit, I say this in jest. I understand that Tony Romo could not make it on the PGA Tour, but 2 rounds of best ball with the best player in the world. I wonder what their odds would be this week.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough, but I would think, I don't know, you'd probably still get action at like 20 to 1, 18 to 1.
Right. I think
And for context, I found it. I mean, like I said, the books are all over the place this week, so the grid seems more valuable than ever over at oddschecker. High water mark of 500 to 1, as low as 150 to 1 when that Cole Cochran combo. It sounds like he's friends with his dad or something. I don't have a clue. I'm making that up. But I did give you those names at the top, Andy. As I mentioned, it has sort of been very kind of chalk here in the past. Do any of these teams do enough for you? Is there just a set it and forget it sort of pairing for Andy's betting card?
Yeah, I think I'm a little priced out of Cantlay Xander, although I think they're going to be there. Like, if you just want to kind of excel this week, sit back and relax, and you're more of a casual bettor that just wants to bet 5 to 1 on a team that will likely be relevant on Sunday, I think you could do a lot. The same strategy that I said with Scotty at the Masters. Like, if you're not in the long-term ROI game, I think you could do a lot worse than, hey, I want to have some stake in this event on Sunday afternoon because I got nothing else going on. I think you could do a lot worse than Xander Cantlay 5 to 1. Although that's not for me this week. I will say, Geoff, I just spent some time speaking to Will Zalatoris' caddy this morning in my podcast, Joel Stock. I think the Zalatoris Sahith pairing is going to be pretty deadly this week. Those guys are super, super comfortable together. I walked 9 holes with them on Tuesday at Augusta in a practice round. They have really good banter and camaraderie. They're best buds. And I think their skill sets complement each other beautifully as well. Sahith just came off a runner-up finish at the Heritage this week, so he's playing great. Zalatoris obviously finished top 10 at the Masters as well. And speaking to Zalatoris's caddy, like, they're ready to go. Like, they're fired up for this week, no rest. So we're just pegging the ground on Thursday, and we're gonna go try and win this as best buds. So I started my card at 40 this week with an all Canadian duo, but
Ooh.
if I was going under 20, I would absolutely look at Zalatoris and Sahith.
Yeah, so I mentioned myself that would be like my team of choice, but I don't know whether I'm betting it. Like, I know they're super talented and they both seem like they're due to win. I don't know whether I was betting it because of a likability factor, or it was like I was leaning into the likability factor, or if the number was like really unfair. But if I did have to make a move at the high end, I would actually feel like I would trust them. So I agree with you. And everyone check out at ADP Lack Sports. There'll be a link of his interview with Willie Z's caddy there. Moving down the board, we have the Hoygaard twins, we have the Fitzpatrick brothers, we have the first leg of a Canadian team, Connors and Pendrith. I wondered if Andy would be investing in Hoagie and McNeely, because Andy sometimes likes to bet on the team that I wonder if the books are like not wanting us to bet.
Yeah.
Right, this one, it's
Yeah.
25 to 1, seems like a consensus, but there is a 28 on the odds checker grid. This is a team I went to bed thinking I wanted to bet, but the number didn't, hasn't gotten me there. But this middle range filled with a ton of options. Andy, though, you teased it. You've gone with the duo that finished second place here a year ago that might want to, show international team captain Mike Weir something a couple times this week, potentially for what could happen at Royal Montreal at the President's Cup this summer. But it seems like a more than fair number on a pairing that has worked well together, and you could just see them being so consistent in Hadwin and Taylor.
I was shocked that they were 40 to 1 this week. They finished second as a duo last year. Both of them raised their baseline tremendously in easy scoring conditions. They've had a ton of success on overseeded Bermuda. Nick Taylor has already won this year at TPC Scottsdale. That's a TPC style course with overseeded Bermuda. Adam Hadwin is the #1 player in strokes gained total at PGA West. That's a driver heavy Pete Dye course with overseeded Bermuda. This is just such a good course fit for them, and they seem to have a bit of chemistry together as well, obviously proving that they can play well at this event in the past. So 40 to 1, that's my pick to win this week is Taylor and Hadwin.
Andy trying to get his three-peat at the Zurich. And again, I've seen this number kind of all over the board as books are slow to release this morning, as it's hard for them to sort of have a consensus on, because it's really hard. Seems like a really hard thing to cap. I don't like to give bookmakers any, leeway, but it does. And this is high as 40. It's still 40 to 1 over at DraftKings. I've seen it as low as like 25. I've seen it flirting around 30. So Andy shouting it over at DraftKings for that 40 to 1. Were there any other teams, Andy, in this like 40 to 60 to 1 range that could potentially have your interest? I could read them off, but I'd just be naming names,
Yeah.
and you're kind of just, we're already, I don't want to say darts, but this whole vibe for this tournament feels like dart throws. I do like the friends angle. I don't think
Yeah.
we've ever seen a team win together. Just running them through my head that like there wasn't a predetermined friendship. I know the Rom Palmer pairing is interesting because it came about due to like a caddy bet that was lost, but there was a friendship developed by the time that they won, because they didn't win it the first year, but by the time they did win it, they were good buddies. I've never seen a team win like that we didn't know were friends, and I mean that.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks to Xander Cantlay's success. That's why I feel pretty good about Hadwin Taylor this week, as they've proven they can do it in this format and have some modicum of chemistry at least, and friendship. I bet a bunch. Like, I have a full card on Monday morning. starting at 40 and going all the way to 140. And in full disclosure, I have no idea if any of these players have relationships with each other. This is just all pure numbers play, just based on my model, which has worked out well for me in the past. So I can just run through
Yeah,
all the guys
I've
I
got
bet
one.
really quickly.
I made
Okay.
one, and I'm sure you have it. So I'll get mine out of the way. And it was pretty much based on the fact that me and you bet this guy a ton in the summer and probably through the fall. And I bet his partner last week and the last couple of weeks, and he's looked good. I played that Smalley Schmid pairing at 100.
Interesting. That's actually not on my
Oh,
list.
damn it.
I thought you were going Davis Thompson because
No,
that's
but
also our guy.
that's another guy. But okay, so I interrupted you there. I gave my bet that's in, but I'm all over that 40-1 pairing as well. So lay it on me here, Andy. Like read them out.
Doug Gim, Chan Kim, 45-1. Bo
Give me a little
Haas.
baseline reasoning for that. For all of them. Quickly. Like a
uh,
quick
Complementary skill sets. Gim is an elite iron player at a second shot golf course. Raises his baseline tremendously on overseeded Bermuda. Chan Kim's quietly having a pretty good season as well. Um, Bo Hostler, Sam Ryder. Any interest there as a duo that could totally catch fire with the putter?
that's one of those that if I bet, I'm just like they both would struggle to get over the line alone. Maybe together they could power up and get over the line. But okay. I mean, I'm a fan of both. I kind of hadn't thought about that pairing yet. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
I'm
swim
gonna give
around it.
you a ton you haven't thought of. Thompson, Novak,
I thought of that
great
one
iron
once. Yeah.
players. Yeah, 66-1. What about Ben Griffin, Taylor Montgomery as like a team that could just drain a million putts on Bermuda?
Although yeah, lights out. They'll
Yeah.
hit every single one. Oh, I did make another bet that I forgot right here in this
Tell
range.
me, who'd you bet?
Taylor Moore, Matt Naismith.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
that
Speaking my language. What are
okay?
they? They
I
were
landed
65-1,
yeah,
something like that.
65-1. And that's another one, friends, that was kind of all over the map. As low as 40, as high as 65. I thought Bet 365 posted even a little higher this morning, but I didn't get that. But happy to have a 65 to 1 on Moore and Neesmith. So I'm reading a bit of Andy's mail, but yeah, keep firing them, Andy.
Um, Chandler Phillips, Jacob Bridgman, 100-1. Listen, just rated out incredibly highly in my model. I'll leave it at that. Um, I don't think I've ever bet. Actually, I'm pretty familiar with Chandy Phil's game, but just another pure numbers play for me. And then Justin Suh and Rico Hoey at 140-1. Hoey is an elite. Oh, being a little generous with elite. Hoey's a really good ball striker, and Suh is a really good putter. And I think their skill set complements each other pretty beautifully. So Justin Suh, Rico Hoey, 140-1. Yeah, my plate is full on a Monday afternoon of Zurich Classic week. But I would not besmirch anyone for saying, hey, I'm taking a break this week. But if you want some data driven plays, that's what the model shot out for me is those teams.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've been circling around that's Rico pairing. I'll just leave it at that. And I don't know whether I mean, obviously, love the way Rico's been scoring, and you've kind of been waiting for it to happen with so. I was in Vegas out last week. He was warming up on the range beside me at Summerlin, and so there. That's almost like maybe got a little Fienberg mojo. Uh, hopefully, and Justin says irons. Hopefully, I don't take anything away from his putter, but that was one that seemed a little high. And some of those names, you're right. I don't know much about the pairing. A lot of these are agents though, based, right? I mean, that's what you hear. So I
Yeah.
have the same agent, and the agent
Agents, yeah,
matched them up,
agents,
or even caddies
caddy
being
friends.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sometimes how something like this goes down. So yeah, for me it is that all Canadian pairing at 40-1, that Taylor Moore Neesmith pairing, Smalley and Schmid at 100. But Andy made Andy made a great case on a few of them. I'm going to swim around, and starting at 40, I like to think I can add a couple to my card. Don't know how much time I'm going to give the event this week, but it's PGA Tour golf. I love it. I'll sweat it responsibly always. Andy, quickly, rapid fire that lovely card you just dropped on us.
Hadwin Taylor 40, Gim Kim 45, Hostler Ryder 50, Neesmith Moore 65, Thompson Novak 65, Griffin Montgomery 66, Bridgman Phillips 100, Sahoe 140. Don't say we aren't grinding out there in the streets of Zurich week.
There it is. Andy. Oh, he's been having his Zurich success. Hopefully that can continue. We're out of here for the drive. We'll be back next week at Odds Checker. Byron Nelson Classic. Yeah. Smash that like. I guess we're on the road to another Scotty Major. Peace.